So, what's with this new rank with Emerald? What is this rank?
I believe Emerald is Platinum 1, 2, and Diamond 3, 4
Okay,
before the
so
change.
it's above Platinum and below Diamond.
Wouldn't it be both high tier, low tier of the tiers?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'm asking you. What?
Mm, it seems like people who were gold last year are now platinum.
Okay, and Platinum players are now Emerald.
Yeah,
Okay.
but not quite that simple.
Okay.
It feels like a mix of both, you know?
Okay. All right. That explains a lot because it's okay. I was just trying to figure out the position of it because I've heard of it a couple times. I wasn't sure if it was above Diamond or above Plat or above Gold. So that helps. Okay. So start the game off. Looks like the enemy team's invading. Uh-oh. Not watching anything. Yeah, get out of the habit of walking the lane like this. You don't have any value when you're sitting on a tower like this. Just try to watch something. Um, usually
Yeah,
if,
I should have been in that bush right there by
mhm.
the blue exit.
Usually if my mid laner isn't watching anything, I'll do an aggressive, like I'll get aggressive, map control or vision control. Try to like stand there. Um, But if our mid laner is watching, then we can just stand somewhere in this bush, or we could even stand back here to be safe, or you could stand up here, just so you can leave as soon as you spot someone, and still be in relative safety. Yeah, not super important, but out of every like 50 games, it might save your jungler some trouble, right? Because if your jungler gets invaded and they lose their top side jungle, but they don't know that until they path up to it, they will lose 3 buffs. And the game in high elo, the game will be over for them. So we're kind of just protecting our jungler from having that happen to them. At least if something happens, we're there to gather information about whatever's going on for our jungler to make an informed decision.
Yeah, I had a similar thing happen to me though, where I was on the opposite side of the map, so like the red side,
Hmm.
and I was in that little bush that connects to top lane and river. But I
Uh,
was
you're talking
that
about this
one,
one?
no, the one to the right,
Oh,
that
this
one.
tribush. Okay.
So I was on this side of the map for laning,
Hmm.
and I was just waiting in this one. But my mid wasn't watching the exit,
Oh, so they came from back here.
so I had no, not there, but well, yeah, it was there actually. I had the enemy top laner just like come close to me, but not in the bush. And I
Hmm.
was just like, I'm sure they know I'm in here. And then for whatever reason, the ash came up from above me, and I was like, I literally died here. And I was like, this is so ass. I should have been waiting in the red buff bush to see both ends.
Exactly. And that's exactly why. And when we don't, especially in the early game, like when we don't have vision of people, we should just assume the worst case scenario so that we can prepare for it. So in the case that I'm in your position and I'm super late, um, and I can't contest control over this river because I'm not early enough, then I'll go somewhere more passive. Like you could go and sit in this bush for a little bit. I know it's further down for top lane, but it's an option. Or we could go sit in this bush and just play like right here so that we can path back if we need to. Or we could just get a ward down. And when I'm warding red buff, what I like to do is I'll just come right over here. And then you can place a ward right here. You don't have to face check or anything. We can get our ward safely down, and it gives us information on what's going on. So this is definitely the preferred method if you can do that, or if you can't, just watch without using a word. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, let's get to lane phase. Oh, okay. So, I want you to get in the habit of trying to walk with the wave, especially in these kind of situations where we're not leashing or anything, we're not watching. Try to walk with the wave. It gives us more control over the lane early. Because now, if Fiora starts hitting the wave, we can't get up there to get control over the wave state before she gets the push off. These extra couple seconds that we're walking up, she could spend auto-attacking minions, and then she's going to get the shove, which means she's going to get level 2 first, she's going to have more minions, so we can't fight her, and we essentially give up control over the lane within the first 4 or 5 seconds. Does that make sense?
You said to walk up to it earlier.
Yeah, just walk up with the wave.
Got it.
What the? I've never
T-push.
seen that before, ever.
The dominance.
Oh, I like this Vera skin. That's cool. Okay, so we're already giving up control, which is okay. But we're not playing into our win condition right now. Our win condition is to give up control over the wave, right? Why do we want to give up control here?
So that it pushes.
Yeah, why do we want it to push into us?
Easier to hit things on your tower and to do last hits on Fiora.
Right, but why is that an issue right now? Because wouldn't you normally want to push as Irelia?
Yeah, but this isn't a champion you really want to push into.
Yeah, that's true. So that's the main part, but also she just got the shove early, right? So we're not even, like, there's no chance that we get the push off here. So we just have to let it push into us. So we shouldn't be doing anything that counteracts that game plan. So, like trying to like hard shove for whatever reason wouldn't make sense, right? Taking lots of damage doesn't really make sense because it doesn't accomplish anything. So I wouldn't be walking up here to because I know you're gonna kill all 3 of these minions, and then she's gonna start going in on you, and then we're gonna get chunked out, right? Because we lose against Fiora early. You already just said that. So why would we take a fight where we're forcing ourselves to fight against somebody that we know we don't win against early?
Yeah.
Does that make
Shouldn't.
sense?
Yeah.
Right. So it's okay to give up these 3 minions. What's not okay is giving up XP. So I would stay back here in the bush. Don't give her vision of your intentions. Sit in the bush, get control over it, and stay in XP range of the minions, but don't walk up and start hitting them. Alternatively, we could walk with this wave here, let her attack us, let the minions aggro her, and then force the wave to push faster. But either way, we do not want to be fighting carrot plays. It doesn't play into our win condition. It does the opposite. Excuse me. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions?
No.
Okay. And then here we cannot like shove the wave, right? So now the push into us is going to be slower, which means that she builds up a bigger wave, which means she's going to have a bigger window to fight us. And we have to push up further. So again, we're kind of just playing against our condition that we had just told ourselves, right? We lose early, so we let her push into us. And getting those minions there, and then playing up like this plays, does not play into that win condition. Now we're gonna have to fight her, because we stepped up for CS. She could have just killed us there, or forced a flash. I don't know why she left. Yeah, here, she's all into you there. I don't know why she backs out like that. That's so weird. The thing with Irelia is that, like, if you can't kill minions, you might as well be an immobile champ. Your dash is very limiting to where you need enemy minions to dash to, and in this case, we're up against someone that does well against us, so we don't want to be dashing it into her minions. because it makes us vulnerable. So we should understand that, like, if we dash into one of these minions, it's pretty much a death sentence because we're forcing ourselves to overextend into her minion wave and we have no way to get back. This too. We don't need to do this. Oops, I went too far back. So this freeze, we don't need to freeze this. This is gonna freeze by itself. Did we see where she went?
She went into like the river.
Yeah, but did we see it? I don't think we saw it. Because I think she just walked backwards. Let's see. Yeah, so we don't even know where she went. So I wouldn't do this specifically because if she was right here, again, she just chunks us out, and we're playing into her win condition where she wants to get control of the lane early because she wins early, right? So we should be playing
Mm-hmm.
a lot more safe. There's no reason to freeze, because it doesn't accomplish anything for us here. Like you said earlier, we want the wave to push into us, so why would we do something that counteracts that ideology, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions so far?
No.
Okay. So, this is starting to get a little concerning. Why is this concerning? It's not,
As in
honestly,
like
it's not that bad right now because you're actually pretty healthy. But let's say you had like this much health. Why would this be kind of a concerning situation?
a diveable situation with
Yeah,
the top lane and the enemy jungler.
right, you're diveable because we know the enemy jungler. Well, I don't know where he started, but theoretically, around this time, if the enemy jungler started bot side, then he should be top side right around now. And Fiora does well against us into us early, and we let her chunk us out early, and she has a big wave built up, right? So these are things you need to be considering when you get into lane. This is why we don't want to take damage early, free damage, because we get into this situation and then we get tower dove, right, by the enemy jungler and the top laner, and a lot of people will be like, oh, it's jungle diff because I got tower dove and there's nothing I can do about that. But if you didn't make yourself diveable in the first place, then they couldn't have made that play, right?
Yeah.
So these are the kind of things we need to be thinking about when we're playing passive early. Okay, so now we have the push. We're level 3. We're gonna have a slow push building up. Now we can start trading into her and playing more aggressive. And you have TP as well, so you shouldn't be as scared of trading with her. One of the big advantages of having TP versus Ignite is that we can do trades with her, get her at a low HP, and as long as we trade evenly or somewhat evenly, we can recall and teleport back. So trading even is a huge bonus for us, or even trading semi-evenly is a huge bonus because we can get a refresh on our health and our mana and just come back to lane. Alternatively, if it's too dangerous to trade with them, we could build up gold and then back, get an item advantage, and then TP back to lane. Either way, our first TP in the game should always be to lane. Always. Because there's nothing else you can do, right? So first TP should always be to lane, and we should be using that advantage that we have with TP because we're up against someone with Ignite. So don't be afraid of trading here because it's actually very beneficial to us. Especially since we have the push going. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, what's wrong with what we're doing?
Fast pushing?
What's wrong with this?
No idea, bro.
Okay, let's pretend we're Fiora right now. Okay, We're Fiora. Watch this Irelia and tell me what kind of mistakes she makes here.
Uses the W.
Yeah, right? She uses W, and then she all-ins us with low mana. Or doesn't all-in. She's trying to get the shove, right? But we know she's trying to get the shove here. So ideally, would we let her get the shove?
No.
No, right? She's low mana. She just used her W. If this were me, I'd just all-in Irelia right here and kill her. Because what is she going to do? She's going to use her E, and then we could W it, and then all she has left is Q. So we would 100% just kill her, and we could straight up just run her down right now. Like, she's 100% a dead person. There's no way she gets the tower, even if she has flash. So against a good Fiora, you just killed yourself, because you used all of your abilities, and then you traded into her, or played forward. I know you're trying to shove the wave, but it doesn't matter. If you get the shove off, and then you die, and she's able to get a freeze, it completely defeats the purpose of what you're doing. Like, dying completely defeats the purpose of what you're doing in this case. So there's no reason we should be playing so aggressive. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, a general rule of thumb for top lane is if you have an ability advantage, then that is something that can help you win fights, right? If we have 3 abilities up and the enemy has 2, then we're more than likely to win the fight. That's just an added advantage for us, right? But conversely, if we're down an ability and they have all of their abilities, then we're at a disadvantage. We shouldn't fight. If we know we win fights, we fight. If we do not know we win fights, we do not fight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So space out your abilities, use them when necessary, and then respect the fact that we had to use an ability there. If we use our W, okay, let's back up, stay out of range so she can't engage on us, and wait for our cooldowns, and then we can move back up like we were initially. And here, is this a good fight for us?
No.
No, right? So like we shouldn't be taking it. And why is this not a good fight for us?
She's up a level and then you was too big.
Right, she's up a level, she has a massive minion wave, and big minion waves are good for Irelia, but here there's just there's too much going on, and she has a level advantage on you, and there's no reason to risk this kind of 50-50 trade. It's better to just let this crash in your tower, reset the wave, and then when we have control over the wave, then we can start looking to trade with her and fight with her. And again, maybe we didn't even plan on fighting here. Maybe you're just farming. But we just talked about this, right? There's no way for us to go backwards in this situation. So by going forward, we're pretty much saying that we're going to fight Fiora. Because that's the only thing that can happen here, is that like we have to fight Fiora now that we queued into her. So if we're going to fight Fiora, we should only be doing that because we win. In this case, we don't win. She's playing this really passive, but if she was playing smarter, you probably would have just died there. Holy crap. Okay.
No, I fucking died. So.
Okay. Okay.
Her
So,
E's like a wither, right?
yes.
That's what fucking killed me.
So what could we have done differently to win this? You actually, like, right here, this should be a kill. Why do we lose this right here?
I didn't kite with her kiting into me.
No, not really.
Well,
Because she can kite really well with her Q. That won't change anything.
I actually just I don't know. Maybe the
What
ignite
was
was
it
too
that
much.
what killed you there? What caused you to die? At what point was it like, okay, I'm 100% dead?
Not getting damage on the repose.
No. It's the post itself, right?
Was I standing in it?
Yeah. Yeah, the post itself is the issue. It's not, so it's not like with the wither thing, you have to get hit by it in order for that to apply for the slow. So if you don't get hit by it, you don't get slowed. So how can we how can we not get hit by the repost?
Stand behind her?
No.
Or
How can we not get hit by this right now? What is something we could do?
not hit her in the animation?
No, because this is gonna hit us no matter what. It doesn't. It's not about whether you hit her or use an ability. The slow will apply to you as long as you're in the line. Because the repost looks like this, right? So as long as we're within this line, it's going to slow us whether or not we use an ability. And then
That's
obviously
not
if we
okay.
use
That's
an
not what I was
ability,
talking about. That's like the slow. I'm talking about like the auto attack speed slow,
yeah,
the point and click,
yes. That no, that's not a point and click.
like the double auto fast attack that slows your
Oh, you're
enemy
talking about her
with
E?
autos.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
So
that's what fucked me.
the W slows autos as well.
That's not real, bro.
But
Delete that champion.
how is
Can't
some
just be Nasus and true damage held percent.
but we actually as Irelia, you should have won this. How do we win this? When this is her ability, how do we dodge this?
Sidestep it.
No, not sidestep. What is something much easier that we could do?
Flash.
No, we're Irelia.
Q to the wave.
Yeah, Q to the minions, right? We should be thinking like we're Fiora. If we're thinking like we're Fiora, we know she wants to land her W because she missed it when we used E, right? So she needs to land a W on us. So all we do is we trade with her, and then when she uses her W, we Q to a minion, and then if we kill it, we Q back to her, or we could just go back after we Q the minion and start trading with her, right? But either way, we know that she wants to use W, so we wait for her to use it, and then we react to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
You don't need to use flash or anything here. All you do is you Q to a minion, and then you 100% win this trade. Especially if you get the refresh. So if it were me, I would have autoed that minion sometime in between that fight, and then bait out her W somewhere else, and then Q to that minion, kill it, and then Q back to her, and then we can continue autoing her and kill her. But instead, we die. She helps the Maokai here, which should have been the other way around. We should have been the one helping the Lilia, and then Maokai would have died. We would have killed our laner. The game would be over. Make sense?
yeah.
Okay. Any questions?
No,
Okay.
it goes all downhill from here.
So how do we want to be controlling our waves right now?
Let it push into me.
Yeah, so we're not really in a rush to do anything. If you want to try to have an impact around the map, like let's say we know our win condition is going to be bot lane because we have a scaling vein, right? Then we could work on slow pushing and um, finding a window to lane swap with bot lane, or we could slow push and build up a wave to gank mid, right? So we could use the slow pushes to do stuff around the map. Alternatively, if we just want to wait until late game or wait until the lane phase is over, then we could focus on just freezing and letting waves push into us. Personally, I like to be proactive about this kind of stuff. So I like to have control over whether or not I can roam or lane swap or whatever. So I like to build up slow pushes just by default. But it's okay to do either, you just need to have a reason for it. And the good thing is this is still a close lane, even though we're really far, or we're not really far behind, but even though we're in the position that we are, this is still like a lane that could go either way with a mistake. It's one of those very snowbally matchup or what do you call it, volatile matchups. And here, I like this, but again, we know she wants to use her W, right? So bait it out first. Put yourself in your opponent's shoes. Predict what they want to do, and then bait out their ability and react to it or respond to it, right? If we didn't get hit by this, it's the same thing. We would have killed her. Here, if we're fewer, we want to proc all the vitals, right? So why are we letting her proc these vitals as Irelia? You should be here. If this is me, I Q onto her and I start pathing like this to keep her away from this vital. Play around those vitals. Don't let them proc her. Like, don't let her proc them. It's just free damage, free healing, like free true damage for her for no reason. You're pathing like this, at this point we're committed to this fight. Like somebody's going to die here, whether it's us or Fiora. So you should be pathing this way instead. Or sorry, you should be pathing like this, path towards the terrain, so you can force her to not be able to proc the vital. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And look at that. If we would have stopped her from proccing one more vital, we probably actually could have won that. Well, it would have been close. I don't know if we would have won, but it would have been close. And if we didn't get hit by our W. We're Irelia, so there is zero excuses for getting hit by our W, period. Because we can just Q away. So even if we land our E on her and she reposts it, we shouldn't get hit by the repost because we can just Q away. So that should never be the reason why we die in this matchup. Okay, here. We just saw she backed. Freezing doesn't really accomplish anything here. What do you think? Why do you think we might want to push in this situation?
I could push move to dragon.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so stupid. I'm sorry. I had you muted on accident. Sorry. What were you saying?
I could push, rotate to an objective.
Yeah, exactly right. Because dragon's up. Um, did you say anything before? Like, did you have questions about anything I said before?
No.
Okay. Because I had you muted on accident. But yeah, you're right. Right, dragon's coming up. Fewer just recalled, or she's walking a dragon. More than likely, she just recalled though, right? So push this wave out and go to get dragon, and so we can crash this really fast, and we can go, roam down to dragon. We can impact that team fight while it having no impact on our lane at all because we get a nice crash and a nice early crash. And also, in this case, Fiora's forced to stay in lane. We actually have an advantage here. So you could actually, well, I guess we don't have an advantage, but you can see she has 900 gold that she hasn't used, right? So this was one of the best times to fight her as well, if we did want to fight her. She's forced to stay in lane while she's missing health. She just used her ult and everything, and she has 900 gold that is completely unspent because she decided to overstay. Yeah. So if you had the shove here, well, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we wouldn't have been able to go roam to the dragon, but we would have gotten more control over the wave, and if she did recall, we could have actually roamed down to the dragon. But also, we could have just straight up fought her, because I can see you're pinging for help here, but we're not weak. Like, this is a favorable position for us to be in. Like, this is another trade that we should win, even though we're behind. And it's for the reasons that I just talked about. She has all that gold that she hasn't spent. She's low HP, or lower HP, low mana. we have a big wave built up, right? Or like a big wave that we can jump around to. So use these minions, build up your conquer stacks, build up your Q stacks, and then kill her. I think you're getting into this, like, maybe I'm looking into this too deeply, but from the way you're playing, it seems like we're getting into this, like, pity spiral, where it's like, we got behind and now we feel bad. And so we feel like there's nothing we can do, like it's hopeless, like we lose because we fucked up, or because somebody else fucked up, or whatever, right? But just because you lose or you're behind doesn't mean that it's always going to be like that, or there's never going to be a chance for you to come back. There's always opportunities, always. You just have to look for them.
I just saw it as I had almost killed her twice. It didn't work. I probably need a jungle gank to kill her.
I mean, let's look at what's going on around the map. So, when you as a jungler, I guess it doesn't matter in this case because we're losing so hard. But as a jungler, you usually don't camp losing lanes, or you don't gank losing lanes. You gank the winning lanes because they have the most potential. They can punish people harder by you ganking them, right? And losing lanes are a lot more volatile. They're a lot more dangerous. You could gank and then both people die for it. So personally, when I'm losing, I do not ask for ganks unless there's a very like particular situation where it's very favorable for my jungler to gank. Like my jungler is already topside and the enemy laner is overextended with zero vision and we know that we kill. But in most cases, I don't like asking for ganks if I'm behind because we should prioritize the ganks to a winning lane. So it wouldn't make sense to gank me. That's how I think. Excuse me. But also, the way I think is just because I'm behind doesn't mean that I need to stay behind or that I can't win or find an advantage, right? Either way, it doesn't matter how far ahead someone is. If you have a trade window, it's always going to be a good trade window for you. If you can trade damage with someone and they can't trade back with you, then you should always do that, no matter how far behind you are, or how far ahead you are. Or if you have an opportunity to kill them, you should always take that opportunity. So we should always be looking for them to make mistakes that grant us these kill windows or these trade opportunities, even when we're behind. And that isn't to say that you should be playing super aggro. We should be playing pretty passive because we're behind, right? But when we see someone make a mistake, we should always punish it. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. And I actually have an example for you. I don't know if I've shown you this one. Have I shown you one of my Irelia games?
Yeah, I don't remember. No.
Okay. Let me see. But also, this. Okay, that's ruin. This one. Okay, yeah, it's this one. Oh no, it's not this one. Fuck. Okay, sorry. If I can find it, holy crap.
You know what I need help with in a
What?
specific matchup? When they pick Irelia and I have to pick Riven, I've been losing it all the time.
Really?
Yeah. Um, what's Victor was telling me that you need to stand behind the caster minions and zone them out of the like first two EXPs of waves. Is that true?
Wait, who's Victor?
The guy that is Diamond right
Oh,
now.
um, okay, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? You said
He's Diamond and he plays Riven and Cassante.
no. I know who he is. I know who he is now, but can you
Oh,
repeat like how he was saying that you should play?
he was saying when the wave first comes, I need to like stay in the bush, but the bush closer to her side and stand behind the caster minions to zone her out of the area of EXP.
Right. Yes, that's something you could do.
Okay,
Why would we want to do that?
let's say she autos me and I'm getting the minion aggro now. You bail on that?
Well, you could sit by the bush. So if you get minion agger, you could drop it real quick. But why would we want to play like that in the first place?
You put them behind in a losing lane?
Yeah, right? Like we win early. We don't lose 1v1s versus Irelia level 1. So if we're able to get control over that space, then we should force her to play off of the minion wave, and then we can deny her XP on the first wave. And also, if she trades into us, we can trade back with her, win the trade, and if we get aggro, we can drop aggro in the bush. So it's a win-win scenario. There's no way, it goes bad. The only thing is you have to be able to get yourself into that position, which is will not always be the case. You won't always have the opportunity to do that in every single game. But the idea is because we know we win 1v1s against her, so we take advantage of that fact. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, like level 1 is really big for Riven in that matchup because you hard win level 1. Level 3 is also. Oh, this is it. Level 3 is also really nice because now we get our mobility, we get our shields, and we get our damage output. So we get trade combos, essentially. So we can go in, do damage to her, and then get out, right? With the Irelia matchup, it's important that we're always extending our abilities. Always extend your Qs, extend your W, extend your E, so you always have an answer if she does something. Um, yeah. Because if you just spam all your abilities once, the issue with that is that now, whatever she does, we don't have an answer for her. So she could just all in us, and we'd have to wait for her cooldowns. But if you have a game versus Aurelia, we can go over it. I think it'd be easier to go over that than me tell you, like, you could do this, or do that, or whatever.
I don't know if I have a recent one.
Or we can just do it in the future then.
Well,
Hmm?
going over the early game stuff in the video we were watching does help out though, because I didn't really understand why I was losing the close fight, or like the favorable, and then it became not favorable.
Yeah, so it's dynamically changing. It's not always a fight is not always going to be favorable for us or always unfavorable. It's always changing. And here in this game, I actually have an example of when this happens. So I'm against a Volibear. I don't know this matchup very well, and so I spent most of the early game playing passive. And because I was playing passive, I ended up playing weak side. The enemy jungler was camping me. If we look bot lane here, we can see that my jungler is bot. We have really good vision control over the bot lane. Um, and we haven't seen the jungler yet. So more than likely, it means that the enemy jungler is top. I think he had just ganked, or is just about to gank. And if we don't see the enemy jungler answer, or if we see her camps up, it means she's either in the fountain, or she's topside. So I pretty much know that she's topside here, and I'm in a matchup where I'm not necessarily confident that I win. But even though we know she's up here, and we know Volibear could possibly win 1v1s against us, we still find a way to kill both of them. Do you see that? Just a short trade with him, but he made a mistake, right? He pushed up too far, he was under our tower. We know that if we trade with him under tower and he trades back, he's going to lose. If he ults the tower, we can just dodge his ult and just play around him until our tower comes back online. So we're not worried about dying to his ult. So him walking up like this, mistake. Boom. So we punish him. Now he's half health, right? Then we all in him, but we know he has his ult, right? He's going to answer my all in with his ult. So we prepare for that. As soon as he ults, we jump out, dodge the damage. He hits tower aggro.
It is 200 flat damage when he ults you, or if he lands it.
Yeah. And if I get hit by that with Kindred up here too, I'm 100% dead. Sorry, I was analyzing this. And then, again, even though it's a disadvantageous situation, we find these little pockets of opportunity to sneak in a kill real quick, and then we have an advantage on the Kindred, so we kill the Kindred as well. So even though I was behind and I was in a very awkward situation, or I was in a situation that was disadvantageous to me, I was still able to come out on top because I took advantage of each of these little windows of opportunity that they gave to me. When he overextended, I still punished him because there was no way I lose that trade. So why would I not take a trade that I win? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You should be doing the same thing. If we know we win a trade, then we should be taking it whether we're 0 and 10 or we're 10 and 0. Also, assuming that we're getting a gank here, right? Because you've been spamming that you want a gank. So we know that the jungler is probably looking top if they haven't started typing already, right? So our main objective here shouldn't be to fight Fiora. Because again, we know we don't win 1v1s, or according to what you're thinking right now, we don't win 1v1s, right? So we shouldn't be fighting
Yeah.
Fiora. We should be waiting until the jungler gets here to kill her. So it doesn't make sense for you to be trading with her and taking damage from her before the jungler even comes top. Because then we're just making it so that when the jungler does gank, we have that much less health to fight with. So it makes it easier for Fiora to 1v2. So like this doesn't make sense. Even though our jungler is topside, it doesn't make sense. Because we take all this free damage and we don't trade anything back. And now, again, if our jungler ganks, it's just that much easier for her to get a solo kill on us and maybe even turn that into a kill on Lilia if she gets her ult off.
Damn, it's the Volibear Kindred video, bro.
Huh?
It's the video you just showed me.
Wait, you still
The
see?
Volibear Kindred. No, I was just saying what I did
Oh,
there.
yes. Oh, yeah, it's like the opposite of what I was doing. Yeah, now we're the ones make the mistake. And it wasn't that the gank was bad, it's that we prepared for the gank badly, and we overextended
I wasn't
before.
healthy enough for the gank, and I was standing way too close to Fiora when she put her to sleep, so I got reposed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true as well.
So I just got fucked.
Wait, but we had our Q up here. Wait, did we? Yeah, we had our Q up. So I think you're being too conservative about your Q usage. It's okay to use your Q and not get the reset. Of course, we need to be doing it for a reason, but it's okay. Like, dodging her W here is a bigger priority than you keeping the cooldown on your Q. So I would just Q to, like, this melee minion right here. And then she gets slept, and then we could chain that with our E if we haven't used... Yeah, we haven't used our E yet. So she gets slept here, we instantly chain it with our E, and then it builds up time for a Q cooldown, but also it allows the Lilia to get closer. We don't take any additional damage, and then we can use our W and our Q to secure the kill. And she doesn't pop her ult, so she doesn't heal.
Yeah, it sounds a lot better.
Yeah, so we still could have
I
won
did
that
have the
game.
E up.
For after, if it the repose did go through.
Hmm. Yeah, I think part of the reason why was because you weren't expecting it. But again, we should be expecting this stuff from Furor. Ask yourself, if I'm playing Furor, how would I play this, and then react accordingly. Um, but also imagine if we didn't do what I said earlier, and instead of half health, we had 75% HP, right? We didn't take this straight here, and then we have like 250 additional HP when she ganks. It's going to be even easier on top of what I just said. So it's all these little things that are really adding up and making this experience miserable for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
After this, it just has to swap since they're on reset.
Okay. So I don't know if I would do this. I don't know if I'd swap this. Why would I not want to swap this?
I don't know. No one's more beneficial.
You said what?
No one's beneficial in swap.
Yeah, how's it not beneficial for anybody?
The bot's not even like strong enough to contest her.
Yeah, exactly. Fiora's really strong now, so they're not strong enough to contest her. So what I would do, I would go back top side, and I would tell our jungler that they need to camp bot lane, because we need our bot lane to win. It's Vayne versus Ezreal, so it's actually a good matchup for our bot lane. I don't know how they...
I think
Yeah,
they were getting
I can see
camped
it.
on like they were getting turbo camped by Maokai.
Yeah. Either way, I would tell our jungler, like, they are our win condition. I need you to camp them. Don't worry about top lane. I'll handle top lane. I won't feed or whatever. I'll focus on just farming, but we need to camp bot lane and get bot lane ahead. Because we're playing for ourselves right now, right? This lane swap is kind of beneficial to us. In a way, it makes the lane less miserable for us. But for our bot lane, it makes the lane more miserable for them or more unplayable for them. Because they're going up against someone that's super, super fed right now. 3 kills. Um, and she has just as much XP, and because she's a solo laner, she's going to be 2 levels ahead. So it's easier for her to 1v2. So, and both of these guys have abilities that Fiora can repost. And if Fiora lands a repost, she's going to win the trade. So, I'm more confident about me dodging her reposts as an Irelia than I am a Blitzcrank not proccing her reposts. Because he's a support player. He's not used to playing against Fioras, right? So, just one of the many reasons I wouldn't lane swap here. But the main thing would be it's just not beneficial. It's not like we're going to win this lane because we lane swapped. And this guy's so far ahead that our bot lane wouldn't be able to win this. Also, if you were up here right now, this is a kill. I don't know why this guy's staying in lane. This is so stupid. Like, this guy, this is actually insane. Like, you literally, if you were here, you just press R and you tower dive him. And if he reposts, you Q to one of these minions, and then you get back to tower diving, or you get the wave to shove in. Like, he should have just lost lane off of staying off there. Doesn't matter now because he's seen that you're bot, but just so weird. So weird. Okay. So you kill, that's nice. They're making this guy solo top lane, which is even worse because it's easier for him to die to Fiora. It's nice because he gets solo XP, but not against someone that's fed. And we need to be cognizant about this stuff that's going on here. So this, I would already have been heading up, like right here. And I would kind of just sit right around this area. Why would I sit here? What would that do for us? Why would I want to do that?
You'd run into them.
No, it's not about running into them. In fact, it's kind of the opposite. I kind of distance myself a little bit away from them because I'm going to expect them to be around this area, right? So I position over here. So I have room to leave if I need to. That's part of the reason why, right? If I need to leave, there's nothing to do. Then I can go back to bot lane, go back to farming. But if I see that they're overextending and, like, in this case, Acel is not paying attention, right? So we can get a collapse here and get a 2v3, or we get a 3v3 and we get a nice flank on them, then I will go ahead and do that flank because I'm in a very favorable position for it. Whereas if there is not a play to be made, then I just leave and I don't lose anything for it. So this is what I do when I'm roaming. I don't or roaming, ganking, etc. Right? I don't commit to whatever I want to roam to because that can be very it can be very damaging. It can be very punishing. Instead, I will go to the halfway point and I will assess whether it's more worth to commit to that or to go back to what I was doing. So let's say I'm roaming mid. If I roam mid, I'll sit in this bush or I'll sit over here. I'll assess. I'll look mid. Are they overextended? Do they have vision? Are they reacting to me? Etc. If not, we can push further up, right? And look for a gank. If they are, they're playing further back or it's clear that they have vision of me, then I just leave from here. Don't even waste my time. And then I can get back to what I was doing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So we should be doing that here. So we have the ability to participate in this fight because this is actually a big fight for us. And this is a big opportunity to come back on top. If they were able to re-engage this, like Blitzcrank could have just walked up there, grabbed the Nautilus, and then we could have all into him and killed him. And if Acel came, she would have just died because she's so low. So I feel like we're kind of just we're really tunnel visioning, right? Like you can impact anywhere on the map as a jungler. I know people, or as a top laner. Sorry, I know people say that top lane is an island, which in some sense is kind of true, but that doesn't mean we can't impact other people. It just means it's harder, right? If you want to impact bot lane, you lane swap with them. If you want to impact the jungle, you can get wave shoved in and then go and invade with them, or defend buffs, or gank with them, or get objectives with them. If you want to help mid lane, you can push waves in and go gank. Right, so we have all these opportunities. If we want objectives, we get a slow push built up, we get a wave built up, we push it in, then we go assist the objective. So there is no excuse to not have any participation in any of these fights at all that are happening. And if we don't have any impact on any of the fights that are happening, then we're not going to consistently increase the win chance of our team, right? If we're just playing for ourselves. If all we do is make sure that one out of the 4 quote unquote lanes wins, then it doesn't really change the overall outcome of whether we're going to lose or win. Because there's still 3 other lanes to worry about. We have to worry about bot lane, we have to worry about mid lane, and we have to worry about the jungle, right? So help the other lanes, or put yourself in a position where we can guarantee the other lanes either win or we're able to dominate enough to where them losing doesn't matter, right? And then we're going to be able to win more games because we're impacting more people around the map. But sitting in lane all game and just farming up like this doesn't do anything for anyone. The only times I will freeze like this is if I'm losing really hard and there's nothing else to do around the map. I'll freeze, I'll try to build up XP advantage or gold advantage, and I'll make sure that I ping where my laner is roaming so that nobody gets surprised by their roams or ganks. Does that all make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alright, here. Let's see what happened here. Okay. So, What stops us from killing Ezreal here?
Nothing.
Well, what's the thing that we need to be concerned about against Ezreal?
Where he jumps in.
Yeah, his E, right? As long as we're on top of him, we're just gonna win. If we're just sitting here trading autos with Ezreal, we're gonna win. So all I would do is I would gap close, I would Q to one of these range minions, and I'd just sit here and auto attack him. Guess what? If he sits there and he trades autos with you, he loses. If he E's, good. He just uses one ability that we're concerned about, so now we can respond to that. We thought about the ability that we were concerned about, we force him to use it, then once he uses it, we can punish him, right? So he E's, now we can R because there's no way he dodges our R unless he flashes, right? So now we R, the R lands, we Q, now we can use our E as well because he uses E, right? And it's on cooldown. So we can use our E as well, we lock him up, he dies. Instead, if we use our R early, he can still use his E to get away, or he could use his E to get away from our E as well. So just
I
know
was
where
too
he...
greedy with that fucking fight. I should have just shotgunned an R.
I don't think so, because your R is the only thing that you want to make sure you hit. I'm okay with using your E here. As soon as he E's away, this is when we should R. And if he flashes like this, then we just let him go, because there's no way we catch up to him, right? Whoa, wait, you have flash? Oh, it was bugged out, showing you didn't have it. If we do have flash, and this is the chance where we are, and then if he flashes, we'd use our flash as well. So it turns into our R flash, and he dies anyways. So boom, we are here when he does this, and then he flashes, we flash with him as soon as he does it, and he dies. So just ask yourself what they want to do and prepare an answer to whatever ability they use. And yeah, this, I mean, we're looking at map here, we should see this, we should already know this is coming. Right. Another thing. We just saw there's 4 people top, right? Blitzcrank is 100% dead. Does this TP make any sense?
No.
No, right? We're not accomplishing anything with it. Because now we're going to TP, and we just saw 4 people top, so assuming we play this correctly, we won't even be able to do anything. Because we'll know if we overextend, we're just going to get killed by 4 people. So this TP just actually is more harm than good. Literally, is literally more harm than good. Another thing, Maokai is walking up like this, and he's hugging the wall. Right, that should tell you by itself that there's people over here. But also we should just know because we saw 4 people there earlier. We should know they wouldn't have just straight up left, especially if we TP'd. But also he's hugging the wall and he's baiting us. He's running back like this and then going back to where he was. It doesn't make sense to do that if you're like, unless there's a reason to, right? We shouldn't assume that these people are stupid. Like, there's a reason he's playing like this. He's just sitting there not using any ability. This is like he's taunting us, right? Why would he do this? And if that's the case, we should know that if he jumps on us, we're dead. So we shouldn't even step up here. We should just leave and go. Like, I would just recall, honestly, because there's nothing you can do here without dying. But honestly, the TP was the big mistake. I want you to look at your map more. I feel like we're really not looking at our map. Like, we should see this. You shouldn't be pushing up for this wave. We don't have any vision, and we just saw like 2 or 3 people up here. Yeah. Well, I feel like that's just tilt, but that is also just straight up preventable.
This whole game is tilt, man.
Yeah. We gotta get control over our mental. Because if we're losing these games, it's not our teammates' fault, it's our fault. Unless somebody's actively trolling or running it down is not our team's fault. There's always something we could do. There's very, very few games that are 100% out of your control. This is definitely not one of them. Yeah, I don't. There's really not much to go over here.
No, this whole game's over. There's
Yeah,
nothing else.
I mean, you guys could possibly come back, but it's just at this point, it's just organized chaos. That's it.
We need one of them to suddenly become paralyzed, and then another to have a blackout in their city,
Yeah.
and someone to have
Yeah.
a baby in delivery and they have to leave for their wife.
Agreed. All right. Do you have any more questions?
No,
Okay. Is there another game you want to go over, or do you want to cut it off here?
it's fine here. I think the issue that I was having right now is I'm making mistakes when there shouldn't be a mistake to be made. As in, like, I'm not doing what I should be doing. As in, don't take the early fights when you know you don't win the early fights.
Right. And that's one of my
Or
big.
dodging simple abilities.
Mhm. That's one of my main mantras that I always say is, if we win fights, we take fights. If we don't win fights, or we don't know if we win fights, then we do not take fights. And everything we do should contribute to that kind of ideology, right? If we're pushing, then we like if we're going to jump into the enemy laner's wave, right, then we should know that we win fights, because otherwise we're just forcing ourselves to overextend and forcing us to take fights against them for no reason, right? Or if we're going to a team fight, we're roaming down to a team fight, we should be doing it because the likelihood of a good outcome for us is high. Same with like objectives, right? So stick to doing things that are advantageous for you, right? And do less of these like 50-50s, like I'm gonna queue into a minion wave and kind of see what happens kind of thing. Take smart trades. But also another big thing I want you to work on that I kind of mentioned already is just looking at your map, because I see there's a lot of stuff going on in your map that, like, if we would have saw it before, we could have prevented a couple deaths, right? So just try to glance down at your map every couple seconds, every 1 or 2 seconds, or if you're waiting for a wave to push back into, or there's nothing to farm, or you're sitting in a bush or something, like, if you have downtime, try to look around the map, see what's going on. Because there's a lot of opportunities for us to roam and assist in like jungle fights or team fights. There's opportunities for us to gank other people. Like there's so much that we could be doing instead of just sitting top lane all game. Um, with that said though, you don't have any questions?
That again?
You said you don't have any questions?
No.
Okay. So
Just need to wake up, bro.
the big thing I want you to focus on is, again, not taking 50-50 trades, taking advantageous trades, fights, team fights, etc. for us, right? Map awareness, and then also, instead of focusing on going for kills in your lane, focus on farming and getting gold. And then if someone makes a mistake, punish the mistake. And then if you have a free kill, then take a free kill. But your focus shouldn't be killing the enemy laner. It should be getting gold. All right.
Got it.
All right. With that said, you have my Discord. If you have any questions or anything, feel free to contact me. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end the session here. I'll probably get it posted to YouTube, and I'll message you whenever I do that, so you can take a look at it again if you need to.
Sounds good, man.
All right. You have a good night.
Later.
All right. Bye.